Work design is about the content of tasks, activities and responsibilities that people have in their job, as well as how those tasks, activities and responsibilities are organised. For example, think about the job of a nurse and imagine you are designing a new nursing job. Questions you might ask include, which tasks should the nurse do? How much patient care should there be relative to paperwork? Which tasks should be allocated to doctors or other medical professionals? Which decisions should the nurse make and which should be made by the nurse manager? Should the nurse be expected to work as part of a team? And if so, who else should be in the team? These are all work design questions. Often we don't think much about them because the job is already designed. Sometimes it's only when symptoms of poor work design emerge, like high levels of burnout or lots of talented people leaving the job, that we start to ask these sorts of questions. When describing work design, we often talk about job characteristics. This is a shorthand way of summarising important aspects of work design that we know affect people's health, well-being and performance. As an example, one job characteristic is skill variety, or how much a job uses a range of different skills. You can imagine that most of the time, the job of a nurse involves several different competencies. Practical skills like moving patients out of their bed, emotional skills like supporting sad families, and administrative skills like maintaining patient records. We would describe most nursing jobs as having high skill variety. Skill variety is one important job characteristic. We'll look at other job characteristics in the next video. Let's talk about why work design is important. Our work design has a major impact on how we feel at work. It affects our job satisfaction, how committed we are towards our company, even our happiness. Listen to this portfolio worker talking about how her work design affects her feelings. She says, I love how I get to make my own decisions. I work hard to satisfy my clients, and at the end, I feel this great sense of achievement that it's been down to me. Work design also affects how we behave at work. Listen to how this Finnish hotel cleaner describes her lack of variety in her work and her lack of autonomy. I often have more than 30 rooms to clean in exactly the same way, which makes the job monotonous. What I dislike most, though, she says, is the stress due to a very pressed time frame. We have maximum 18 minutes to finish a room, regardless of how much effort each room needs. I often meet cleaners running between rooms to be able to keep up. One of the consequences of this poor work design was that the cleaners began to steal. The thefts became a positive trait of our working day as we get something else to think about other than the boring work tasks. Stealing has become a game, and through it we have found some meaning in work. I regard these occasions of eating stolen chocolate as possibilities to take back time and energy that we give away all the time but never get properly compensated for by the greedy hotel. So we see the cleaners behave counterproductively to compensate for their poor work design. Work design can even affect our physical well-being. I've conducted research on cybersecurity agents whose job it is sometimes to sit and watch the screen for up to 8 hours a day with very little rest. This causes great problems for their lower back and for their eyes. So work design affects how we feel and behave and our physical and mental health. It also affects the productivity of the organisations we work for. There's one further reason why work design matters. In many countries, good work design is required by law. In Australia, the Work Health and Safety Act states that workers and others should be given the highest practical level of protection against harm to their health, safety and welfare from hazards and risks arising from work. In other words, if as an employer you design work that causes harm, you could be breaking the law.